we actually do a lot of surveys and stuff on our community to determine what are the main features that they're looking for, right? And we basically want to look for something that's more like 70 or 80% of the people that did do the survey that wanted that special feature. And that would be the feature that we try to aim for.
Hey, my name is Felix Tiet. I'm the host of Shopify Masters, a weekly podcast powered by Shopify, the easiest way to sell online, in person, and anywhere in between. Each week, we invite entrepreneurs like you to share what they've learned growing successful e-commerce businesses. In this episode, you'll learn how to build a community before building a product, the surprising and underutilized benefits of building a great relationship with your manufacturers, and why they are moving away from working with influencers that do product reviews of products in their industry and who they are actually working with instead. Before our show, I wanted to chat about Shopify shipping. Did you know that you can buy shipping labels for your orders at home and print them with a regular printer, get shipping insurance within the United States, and receive discounted shipping rates with certain carriers with Shopify shipping? There are no additional fees, carrier account, or app required. This is included with your Shopify plan, so check out Shopify shipping today at shopify.com/ship. Today, I'm joined by Colin Chik, CEO from BluuMan. BluuMan is a range of men's hair products created with input from the BluuMan community and was started in 2014 and based out of Vancouver. Welcome, Colin.
Thank you, Felix. It's great to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you on. So we mentioned in the intro that the product is heavily powered by the community. So talk to us more about this. Like, how is a community involved in the brand, in the product?
Well, the brand was actually created by the community. So in 2014, our founder, Joe, decided that he really wants to make a hair product. So he posted a video on YouTube asking people what they wanted in a hair product, such as type of hold, the finish, and what the market really lacked. And from there, they started formulating a new product, our BluMaan Original Meraki. The community really pushed that product a lot. We did testing with the community, so we sent out samples throughout the whole year, trying to get people's opinion, what made it good, what's bad about it. And even when the company first started, a lot of the community members took volunteer positions, like our customer service, our product development, our marketing team were all built with the community members. So that's what makes us kind of unique compared to a lot of brands, because we're built by the community directly.
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's talk about that, because I think that this is obviously probably your most valuable asset, having this community. So for anyone else out there that wants to follow the same path, it sounds like you got to start off by building this community. So talk to us about how that was first established. Before the brand, the products was ever conceived or even thought of, it started with a community. So let's talk about that. Like, how did that begin?
So the community was really built on Joe's following. Joe is a YouTuber, for those who don't know. When we built the community, he was about 250,000 followers on YouTube. And his vision was that he wants to connect with every one of his followers on YouTube in a more personal level. So he literally responds to every message that gets sent to him on YouTube, and he talks to them a lot. And one day he decided, let's make a community together on Facebook. So he created a group, and he really marketed on his channel to push people into this group. And his philosophy was he wants to make a group where people can share like hair tips, hairstyle, product reviews, and just bring his fans into a more community talking aspect. And not just watch his videos.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're a YouTuber or even like a podcaster like me, you're spending a lot of time kind of talking to people, or they hear your voice, but you don't hear from them, and they definitely don't hear from each other. So I can see the power of, or the desire, the benefit of having a community. So you mentioned that this community actually lives in Facebook, in a Facebook group. He drove the new members into the group from his YouTube channel. Can you speak about what are ways to engage a community, get them active? Like, how do you actually get things rolling? Once people come in, I think a lot of fear or a lot of hesitation a lot of people have about running or starting a community is like, okay, everyone's here. Now, how do I? It's like you're hosting a party, right? How do you make sure your guests are having fun? How do you do that?
So one of the things that our founders did was they actually was really into the community. So they talked a lot in the community, posted some of their personal stuff that's happening with their life, responded to people's posts, their questions, and ultimately they created another separate group. We call it like the VIPs of BluuMan's community. So these are like moderators. So we got volunteer moderators that really love the group and really help push more discussions within the group. Even today, like we have about 20 moderators that constantly, do posts, respond to people, and really become really helpful like leaders in that group. And I think that's really important in getting the community started and building that activeness within the community.
Got it. So it's a separate group that is your VIP, like the biggest fans of Joe in this case,
yes.
and eventually the brand. Is that like a separate like Facebook group? Like how does that group kind of spend? How do they collaborate or congregate?
It's just a little moderator group. It's just a separate channel to just talk about like posts that they don't like, or people that are being disrespectful, or like they discuss like new ideas or new giveaways within the group. So we let those moderators take control a lot of the things, like kind of giveaways, kind of promotions, stuff like that within the group. So it's not really run by the company as much as the community.
That makes sense. So based on what you have seen in the years of this group running, what works to continually grow this group? Outside of Joe driving this, I think almost 2 million subscribers now to the group. Are there other ways you mentioned giveaways, and what are some other ways that maybe people that don't have a 2 million, I guess, following, what are some ways that they can grow their group more organically, or ways that they can do without driving traffic from another source?
Having really meaningful discussions, basically. Not necessarily just about like men's grooming, but on our group, if you ever do go to our group, there's people who talks about their daily life. Like one of our community members at one point posted pictures of his newborn baby and how much he loves his life, his wife. More personal, more empathetical discussions are in the group. And that's the stuff I really want to promote a lot. And those go better. Those attract a lot of new users, we feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard Facebook specifically call out that they are trying to promote more of this meaningful discussion, meaningful conversation that you're talking about. I'm sure that if you're posting something meaningful, you're going to have a lot more comments and likes and shares. So obviously Facebook likes that, so they're going to push that up and certainly will recommend your group more often. So I think that that's important. Now, as a moderator, as someone that is, maybe not as a moderator, but as someone that is overseeing the group, maybe it's a group for your brand or a group for your community in this case, are there ways for you to encourage this meaningful discussion?
I think the way that we treat our moderators really helps get them excited about our group. Like, we treat them like if they were our team members or our employees of BluuMan every single day. And we really give them all the special treatments, such as like let them try out our new products and stuff, and show them results of what's happening with our group, like how many new people joined, how many people left. And the happiness level of the group really motivates them in participating.
So it starts off at the top where you are treating the moderators, the people that are seen as leaders of the group in a way that gets them excited about the brand, gets them excited about the community, makes them happy, and that somehow trickles down to the members of the group and encourage them to open up and have these kind of conversations.
Yes, definitely. And you know what? They're really happy. Like some of our moderators been with us for over 4 years. And they're still very active and still message me every single week saying like, all the new changes that they're proposing and new ideas that they have and how much more people are actually joining the group every single day.
Now, when it comes to things like giveaways, how does that work? Is that something that you guys often use in the group to encourage engagement or to encourage more people to join the group?
We do it quite often, I think. Every quarter we do one giveaway, and these giveaways are are done by the moderators and our marketing team in-house. So they communicate with each other, and then they basically come up with an idea, and we try to work with other sponsors, like other brands, so do a collab giveaway or whatnot. And yeah, it's been pretty successful in that area.
Mm-hmm. How does it work? Like you're giving away a bundle of products, or what's the? I guess how does that drive your marketing by giving away products?
Well, usually when we do a collab giveaway, so we work with other brands. They give out our products to their fans as well. So we cross promotes our community with their customers. Lets our community really likes it because they get experience new brands or new giveaways. The decision for like the type of products and everything that are on a giveaway can range from, we've actually given out airplane tickets or vacation package before, dinner with Joe, just things that we try to make things exciting and different each time. It's never going to be the same. Never going to be like just BlueMan products,
So the idea behind a collaboration giveaway is that the brands that you collaborate with will also share this giveaway and then expose the BlueMan products to their audience?
Yes. And we usually work with brands that are different from BlueMan, while the audience is somewhat similar, if that makes sense.
Right, so they're not direct competitors, but these are people that would buy similar, buy your product and the brands you're collaborating with.
Yes, would fit our demographic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about, so you build this community either by driving traffic from an existing source, if you have some kind of following already, or by cultivating more meaningful discussions or running giveaways to get more people into the group, to get other brands to promote your brand or promote your community. So different ways to get people into this group. Now, how big was the group at the time that you guys started asking the community, if they were interested in a line of products?
The line of products actually came before the community was built, actually. We decided that we wanted to do a product on the YouTube channel, and then we created the community to do the discussion on what we needed in the product. So it came before.
Okay, so basically the community and the product almost like grew hand in hand together. It wasn't like there was an actual Facebook group at the time.
Yeah, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how big that group was before there was meaningful discussion around the product? Because someone might be, again, want to take the same approach of building a community, almost building like a panel, right, of people that to bounce ideas off of. But there might be like, okay, how many people do I need before I can actually switch gears and start asking them about products? Do you remember how big the group was before it made sense to start asking them these kind of questions about products?
Unfortunately, I didn't join BlueMan team until after that event. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So when you at this point, how big is this community?
When we start doing most meaningful discussion about the products, I believe it was about 10,000 users.
10,000 users, and
10,000.
That's bigger. It's bigger than that today.
Today we've hit about 50,000 group members.
Amazing. Okay, so let's talk about the kind of questions you should ask your community then. For anyone, again, out there that wants to bounce ideas, wants to release a product, or maybe start a brand new company with a community on Facebook that they've cultivated. How does that even begin? Like, how do you introduce the idea to the community to begin with?
Let's first identify the problem. So identify what's missing on the marketplace and the product that you want to try to introduce. For Joe, he realized like there's a really big disconnect in a high quality natural product in the hair space, and especially direct to consumer online. So that's where his approach came from. And from there, he just asked, "Hey guys, like, what are the products that you guys like as benchmarks?" So the people follow brands or products that they've been using for the last couple of years, and from there, like, you ask, what are the advantages of that product and what do you dislike of each of the competitors' products? And you take all the good stuff and remove all the bad stuff and basically try to make your ideal product and then find a lab or chemist to make samples to create that product.
Okay, definitely want to talk about the actual creation of the product in a second. But you made you broke it down to basically a simple math problem of adding
It
the
is.
stuff that they like and removing stuff they don't like. And it, I mean, I think it's just as straightforward as that. You just got to put in the work after you realize the formula. Now, you mentioned before this, so before you decide to ask them about the particular products that and brands that they like versus dislike. You mentioned that you had to first define the problem. Can you talk more about this? Like, what does it mean? You mentioned that there was a lack of direct to consumer brands for to solve a specific problem. What was the actual specific problem that you guys had recognized before asking them more about the products that they're buying in this space?
So for this space, a very high hold product that gives a really matte finish and is still healthy for the hair. Because one of the biggest thing for men is like we need our hair to be very healthy to have that beautiful shine or the beautiful look. Yeah, so that was the biggest thing for us was the whole the finish and the natural ingredients in the product.
And was this like a hypothesis that you and the team had going into this, or did you discover this as you were asking them what they liked and didn't like?
This was actually it was a theory from Joe and Ben. Joe is actually he's a YouTuber, but he's really focused on hair product reviews. So he's always been reviewing products, and he loves hair products. So that's where it came from.
Got it. Okay, so they already had an idea behind it, and they wanted to then ask people about specifically what hair products they liked and disliked. Do you remember some of or do you know some of the answers that they were getting back about what they liked and didn't like that went into the creation of your product line?
So one of the big things that people really didn't like about hair product was it was really hard to get up people's hair. Like when you wash it, shampoo, a lot of products were made out of oils or wax that didn't wash up properly. And they create a lot of tugging. And then when you create a lot of tugging in your hair, you kind of lose your hair even faster, especially for men, right? And men hair loss has been a big issue. That being said, people wanted ingredients in the hair product that promoted hair growth to prolong their hair. And the hold is very important. A lot of men notice that like you put your hair product in the morning, by noon it starts flopping. That's another issue that we noticed. Yeah, those are the three main biggest problems that we noticed.
Got it. Now, when you are asking a community or asking potential customers these kind of questions, how do you actually prioritize their desires, their wants into actually figuring out that this is a feature that we want to add into our product versus something that is going to be deprioritized and maybe something you guys look at in the future? How do you decide what you should actually add now, today, in the product you go to market with versus something in version 2?
For us, I think we do more of a poll, like a poll of people. We actually do a lot of surveys and stuff on our community to determine what are the main features that they're looking for, right? And we basically want to look for something that's more like 70 or 80% of the people that did do the survey that wanted that special feature. And that would be the feature that we try to aim for.
Okay, so you first start off with almost like an open-ended discussion about the things they like about certain products in the space, things they don't like, and then based off of that, do you like kind of rank them based on frequency of I guess comments and of the similar type of comment, and then from that you create like a poll? That is that the approach?
Yes, we create a poll, but this is not just for the features of product. We actually do this for the actual product lines too. So we would say like, like for hair products, there's different type of hair products like clay, there's paste, there's pomade, and there's hair oil, etc. So we actually do a poll for everything that we do with the community.
Got it. Now, has there ever been like a competing desires where people might want a certain feature, but by adding that feature, it will I guess produce adverse effects for something that they definitely don't want? Like, like basically conflicting, I guess, wants.
Conflicting features. Yes, there is actually. High hold products tend to have more tugging.
That makes
tugging
sense.
Yeah, it's not as smooth to apply usually. And a lot of times what we have to do is we just have to work around it. Like we have to compromise between the two features, and make that perfect balance with our community. So that's why we do a lot of testing, back and forth testing between our community. Like when we make a product, sometimes it takes up to a year of testing with our community until people are satisfied with the balance.
Got it. Okay, so let's move on to that phasing of actually creating prototypes and then developing the final version. So you guys got these feature or these basically the features of the product, and then you moved on to finding like some kind of manufacturer or some kind of chemist. Like, what's the next step for a product like yours once you have an idea of the results that you want to achieve with a product?
So one of the things that most people don't realize is Google is full of resources. You can literally Google anything. So when we first started, we literally Googled a manufacturer that we want to work with, and Google came up with a lot of good results. And you basically have to email every manufacturer, talk to them, see how much it costs to do your R&D for your prototype, and just work with your manufacturers. Tell them exactly your situation. Like, don't lie about like how big your company is. Just be very honest, and honesty really helps in this situation. It gives you a lot of perks with these manufacturers, because a lot of manufacturers really love working with small companies or startups, right?
Yeah, why is that? Because I always hear, you have a minimum order quantity when you work with manufacturers, but you're saying that they like working with startups. What makes them? I guess what are they looking for in a startup that makes a startup attractive to a manufacturer?
Because the thing with startup is they can become like a really big company really fast, and they'll be more dedicated using that manufacturer over a long period of time, right? And a lot of CEOs from these manufacturers love helping young entrepreneurs. It's just a thing that they really love, helping them and helping these people succeed. And some of these CEOs, like from our manufacturers, are like kind of like mentors, and they tell us like really insider stuff about our industry that we would not have been able to Google.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good. I guess this raises a good question, which is like, what are some of the underutilized, I guess, underutilized benefits of a manufacturer that people don't take advantage of? A lot of times people would think that, okay, I order these things, they give it to me, and that's it. But you're talking about using them as a mentor. What other things have you discovered that a manufacturer has been able to do to be helpful for your business that you think other entrepreneurs might be underutilizing?
Okay, so if you build a really good relationship with a manufacturer, they will sometimes tell you about like trade secrets, like what are the upcoming products that other people are manufacturing, or the trends that they see. Like, for example, they'll tell us like athleisure makeup is now starting to become a trend prior to it being, in the consumer market yet. Ingredients that are becoming more popular, new ingredients, how other like similar competitors that were the space that we're in, how they're doing the marketing, even approximate quantities of orders that they're even doing, and strategies of their supply chain or manufacturing, and even their terms and everything like that, like payment terms, they will even help us with.
Mm-hmm. They want to see you succeed, obviously, because if you succeed, then
they'll succeed.
They'll succeed. That makes sense.
Yes.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review on iTunes to let us know what you think or what you'd like to hear more of. Now, let's get back to the interview.
What about some lessons learned? Like, what are some early mistakes that you guys might have made that you want to warn other entrepreneurs from making when they're working with a manufacturer?
Oh, there's a lot. Always prototype and always do a first batch sample. Prototype and your first batch might not always match. We had situations where it didn't match, and we had to redo the whole first run. Like for our Meraki, our first run was really off from the prototype. So don't just assume everything's going to be exactly like the prototype, right?
Right. So there's still a big jump, you're saying, between getting the prototype and that production run.
Yes.
Just because a prototype looks good doesn't mean that at scale the production run will also be as good as as the prototype.
Yes, exactly. Especially for a cosmetic industry, when they do the lab sample or the prototype sample, they do it in a lab, right? But when it comes to the full batch manufacturing, they use machines and and a large, like big, just imagine like big containers boiling up your products or filling your products. Even a slight change in temperature or slight change in the percentage of the ingredients may affect the product significantly.
Right. So in order to see what the product looks like and or how it will perform is to get a batch sample and not to reference the prototype. Like that is the batch sample is the closest you'll get to the product that will get to the customer itself. So let's talk about the prototypes. How many prototypes did you guys go through? Like, what was that very first one like?
The very first one, I believe they did about 50 prototypes, 50 iterations. On average at BluMaan, we do easily sometimes past the 50 mark. One of our products took over 2 years to prototype. It happens all the time.
Now, when something takes 2 years, what makes you guys keep on thinking that it's a product that's worth investing more time and resources into?
Well, for us, we believe that product would be a really good add-on to our product line, and it's something that we really needed. We also had a lot of demand from our community, demand from our customers, and we just wanted to make it perfect. There's a lot of companies that does make products, and they don't really care about the full quality of the product as much. But for us, we wanted to make it perfect every single time before we launch our products. And that's why our product development cycle is significantly longer than the average company.
Okay, so when you get that prototype, that first iteration or 10th or 20th, what do you do with it? How do you actually figure out if it's good enough or if it needs a certain tweak?
So all this is based on feedback from people. So when we first create a prototype for a new product, we actually give it to our team to try. So we have a lot of guys working in our office, and they will try it out. And they'll try with Joe, and they'll write down their feedback. The feedback is sent back to our product development team, and that is sent back to the lab, exactly what we're missing or what we would like to see more. And we constantly do this until our team on a majority basis like the product. Okay. And once that is done, we then send it out for mass testing. So we send it out to our community team that, test our products on a regular basis, and they come back with feedback. And if that's not good, we go back to the drawing board and we formulate it again or tweak it until we get it where, the team and the community are happy with it. And then we do another test after, in-person test. So we usually host a small little event at a barbershop or whatnot, and we invite our followers, a couple of more dedicated followers, to come in and actually try the new product beforehand and see how they like it. If any part of this testing phase, people are not fully satisfied, they will literally go back and retweak again. And sometimes, with some formulas, you can't really tweak it all the way to perfection, in which case we will have to totally reformulate it again and start from step one again.
I guess I'm surprised that if the team thinks it's good, it's not enough for you guys to just go and run with it. What are some examples of things that you have discovered that the team's like, this is perfect, this is ready to go, that then you release into the community or test with the community, and then they notice certain things? What are some examples?
One of the things with hair products is every man have different types of hair. So there's fine hair, there's coarse hair, there's Caucasian hair, Asian hair, and there's people have curly hairs, right? So different hair requires different type of product, unfortunately, different requirements on the hold, mostly on the hold side. For fine hair, the hold is very different from a coarse hair, basically. And because our office is, we don't have a broad variety of hair types, so that's why there's going to be a difference between the community and our office team.
I wonder if that goes into a factor when you guys interview and hire people to see if they have hair that has not been represented yet.
That's not our hiring.
I'm sure that's not legal either. So
no,
that's
I
good.
don't think so. But that's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if someone comes along with that can fill your quota of hair types, I'm sure that helps a little bit. Okay, so once you decide, okay, so you mentioned that internal with the team first, see what they like, goes out to the external community where it has a kind of broader sample size, and then you mentioned that you do in-person kind of trials. What is the benefit of doing this in person? Because it seems like it's going to be it's going to go back to basically a smaller subset than the wide community. So what's the point of doing in-person trials?
So it goes back to the hair type of hair as well. People in the community and people in our office, there's going to be some type of demographic that's missed, right? So we want to put those people into the in-person from just random picking people from the community, and also gives a little incentive for people in the community that when you're a part of this group, you might be chosen to do an in-person test. And it's a huge bonus. So you get to meet Joe, you get to try a new product, and you get free products too going there.
Okay, so you're almost like trying to target specific hair types that you weren't happy with in terms of getting the back response. Like if you weren't getting enough responses from like people with curly hair, you might try to run an in-person trial to bring in more people with curly hair to see what their feedback is.
Yes, and it's really nice to see them in person because we can see how they use the product, right? When we see how they use their product, we can create content for that as well.
Right, you can like create like ad copy or ad creative, or okay, your tutorials to cater towards the way they use it. What are some examples of how differently people use your products?
So not many people realize that there's such thing as a pre-styler and there's a post-styler. So a pre-styler is when you use a product when your hair is slightly damp, and then you blow dry it to activate it to create that better hold, more volume. Especially for finer hairs. And then there's post-styler when you use the product after your pre-styler, so your final product that you use. And those two products may not be the same. You may be using like the BluMaan Original for a pre-styler and use BluMaan's Cavalier Clay as a post-styler. So that's one of the different ways of using our products. And these can be mixed around. So some people might not like, our Original as a pre-styler, but they like Monarch for a pre-styler. And there's always that mix and match. That's one of the things that are very different for different people, different hair types.
Got it. Okay, so now once you've gone through this prototyping phase and you have finally arrived at a product after 50 iterations or however many you guys are happy with, something that can go into production, you mentioned first start with a small batch run. How small are we talking about? And is this something that's like common to ask a manufacturer to do?
Yes, of course. You can always ask. You always should be asking minimum order quantities. However, like I said, if you have a really good relationship with the manufacturer, they'll actually do even a smaller batch than that.
Does it help to explain why you want a smaller batch, just to see what this looks like in production?
Definitely. So the batch sample doesn't necessarily mean that they do a separate smaller batch for it. It's just they do maybe like a couple hour run. Small batches might still be at over 1,000 units, by the way. It's barely like 2 boxes or a dozen, right?
Okay, so once you get back this, 1,000 units, what do you do with those?
We basically try to send it to influencers. For marketing wise, we would send to influencers. We would give it out to our community leaders. We'll give it to our office people to try it out. Our product developer would heavily test the product, make sure that's really consistent in all units. We send it to our founders and just do rigorous testing to make sure it's same as the prototype that was given to us.
Got it. Okay, so once you've done that and the prototype matches the small batch size, you guys are ready to do a full-on production run. What's the marketing plan here? How do you guys launch a new product or a new product line to the community? So one of the first things that we really want to decide in our operations side is how much units we're going to actually create. And that is like more towards the number side of things. How much money we're willing to invest, how much can we even afford to invest and still have money for the marketing side, especially for a startup with very limited resources. This is a really crucial part of launching a product. We can't overproduce and we shouldn't underproduce, right? And once the budget is created, we give to our marketing team, and the marketing team works with that budget.
We also give the products to our sales team, our B2B distribution team, and they determine how much products that they actually need, and we actually reallocate the products. So we'll say, okay, B2B gets 30% of all our products, the new launch. Direct to consumer gets the remaining. Then from there, we actually have a playbook that we have for launching new products in BluuMan, and they follow the playbook while adding something new to it, something that they want to test out during a launch.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Can you give us a high level what that playbook looks like for anyone out there that just has no idea how to launch a product?
Basically, how to create hype for a product. Like being mysterious, trying to create that buzz for the new product, how to get people's attention for the product, and basically which marketing channels we're targeting, how we're going to target it, and most cost-effective way of targeting these channels.
Now, you mentioned you decide which marketing channels to target. How do you guys make the decision here? Like how does an entrepreneur decide how to spend, which marketing channels they should spend their time and money?
So in my opinion, for new entrepreneurs, you want to look at your competitors, what they're doing. Usually they're spending a lot on paid ads, or they spend a lot of money on influencers. There's a reason for that, right? There's a reason why they're doing that. It's usually because the ROI does make sense for them, right? Usually I would say just follow what they're doing, but doing a smaller scale. So if they're targeting large influencers, for example, you always target micro influencers, right? Because the micro influencers cost less, usually doing it for free compared to large influencers. So it's easier to just follow what other people in your industry are doing and not make that mistake. And then when you do have that extra money, then you can try different channels that your competitors are not trying.
Got it. Okay, so you're basically looking for what the competitors are spending a ton of money on, but then obviously take the same approach, but at a scale that your
Smaller
budget
scale
can support, right? Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned targeting on these channels. What do you mean by that?
So there's different channels out there right now, even new channels such as TikTok, for example. That's a really new social media channel. When we say targeted, find a way that we can fit our product into that channel without being too heavily salesy. Be more subtle, and just get our product in front of people so people know about it rather than to just sell it.
Okay, so basically try to create content that's native and organic for that.
Yes.
That channel. And just speaking of TikTok, is there a lot of effort you put in here? I think it's obviously a channel that a lot of people are interested in, but don't know exactly how to market on there. Can you give us any pointers when it comes to TikTok?
TikTok is so new right now. It's undetermined. Even for us, we've been doing little experiments here and there, but we haven't really come to any conclusion yet. It's still too new.
Right. Okay. What about another channel that's maybe more established that you guys definitely try to hit on? Is it Facebook, Instagram, YouTube? What's the next kind of channel that you guys almost always want to spend lots of effort and resources on?
Influencers has always been our biggest market for us. It's actually different types of influencers. So when we first started, we focused more on men's style, men's fashion, and men's hair. And we're slowly moving away from that, more to lifestyle, like athletics, kids even. So those are different channels within Instagram that you can try to target, or untouched markets, basically.
Okay, so you're moving from influencers that are specifically using the products that maybe people you almost even expect to see kind of sponsorships and product reviews into less related channel. What's the thinking behind that? Why move away from kind of almost, I guess, more of the low hanging fruit of these influencers?
One of the thinking behind it was that these type of influencers, especially in our market, fashion influencers, they tend to be oversaturated. They market a lot of different products like skincare, multiple different hair products, and it doesn't seem as authentic a lot of times. Like if you see an influencer marketing 3-4 different hair products, are you going to really trust in that influencer in their hair product selection, it's kind of hard to do so. So what we realize is markets that or channels of types of influencers that haven't ever marketed hair product before seems to be a better fit and a better return on investment.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Now, how do you determine once you decide? Okay, I want to focus more on lifestyle influencers. How do you decide what kind of influencers are going to be a good match? You know, especially once you're moving away from the more direct kind of like hair products, men's grooming influencers into a little more uncharted territories. How do you try to make sure that they will still be a good fit for the brand?
So, to find the right influencer, our team actually brainstorms and look at each of the influencers that are coming through our door, and they determine like, hey, does this person have good hair? Does this person have high engagement? Like, are the followers very dedicated to them? What's the response rate when you do a post? And how saturated they are in their paid ads, right? So even if they've never done a hair product before, if they've done a lot of like promotions, that's also really not the best sign for us. You want someone who doesn't really do much promotions, maybe just support one or two brands kind of thing. And that's what we look for.
Right. Just to kind of avoid that almost like ad blindness that people might develop from seeing the same influencer constantly advertising products, constantly advertising the same type of products. You try to find a influencer that's not doing much advertising at all, you're saying.
Basically, which is really hard.
Definitely. That's why you said that you're trying to focus on the micro influencers, the ones that might not be so big that they are constantly getting these deals.
Yes, micro influencers are really good in ROI in general. They tend to have much higher engagement. They cost a lot less than a major influencer, and they really put more effort because they're still small. So they're willing to put that effort in making their content better.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you identify a micro influencer or influencer at all that you want to work with, how do you get in touch with them, and what's the pitch that seems to work? Like, what does an micro influencer or influencer care about that gets them to say yes?
I think one of the biggest things is that do they feel comfortable, and does it really represent them when they represent this brand, right? Does this brand fit their lifestyle or fit them? And I think that's the most important part of getting that influencer to take on this brand as an ambassador or to promote it.
So let's talk a little about the website. So the website, is that all done in house? You guys hired an agency for that? Like, how was that built?
The first iteration of the website on Shopify. Actually, we didn't do Shopify to start. We actually did on WooCommerce in the beginning, and that was done in house. Then we switched to Shopify, and it's been amazing. Shopify is amazing.
Awesome. So was a theme? Did you guys have like a customized theme, or how did you guys build the Shopify site?
We started with a theme first, and then we customized that theme. And later on, we hired a Shopify web design firm to help us make the next one. So the current theme was made by an agency. It was a lot more costly, but it had a really good return.
You mentioned, so you basically redesigned the site at least once. What was the intention? What was the goal of the redesign? Like, what are some things that you guys wanted to fix essentially in the next version?
So one of the things that has been a early on problem for us was identifying our brand. So a lot of our marketing materials was too scattered because it was made by volunteers, right? Because the volunteers did our marketing for us a lot of times, and it was really inconsistent. So our website design didn't really match our branding. So first iteration, we try to make it closer to our branding and make everything consistent, the font and etc. And on the last revision, the third revision, we really focused just on the branding, and that really helped on the conversion rate.
Can you say more about that? When you talk about branding, if someone out there has a site already and they want to make improvements to it, you mentioned that branding has made a huge difference. What did you like tactically change, or what did you actually change on the website to improve the branding on the website?
So one of the things is making sure that all our photos or our assets on our website match the type of people or type of demographic we're targeting. having high quality images, having those men with nice hairstyle that could be created with BluMaan products, making all our images consistent as well. Like each product shot must be very consistent to the next one. A lot of people don't really do that. The font colors, color of the website should match the packaging of your product. That's another thing that we didn't do really well in the beginning. And the messaging as well. The copywriting must match our actual product and the message that we try to communicate to our customers.
Got it. So it sounds like one thing is to invest in the photography, lots of images of people represent the lifestyle that you want the brand to represent. And then also, I think one important thing that you mentioned that not a lot of people do is that you kind of want some consistency between the photos too. Like it was actually all done in like one photo shoot, one session rather than like randomly pulled together. You found that makes a big difference. Okay.
That made a huge difference.
And you mentioned also match the packaging of the website, the colors and maybe the fonts to the actual, the website rather to the packaging colors and the fonts. I think that's also something that can sometimes be overlooked too, which is interesting. Got it. Okay, so now when you guys are writing this website, are there any tools or apps that you use either on your site itself, on the back end, or when it comes to marketing that you guys really rely on?
There's definitely a lot. Actually, Shopify has a lot of great plugins. One of the first plugins we ever installed was actually called No Fraud, credit card fraud. That saved us like thousands of dollars a year. We used Privy, the pop-up. Product reviews plugin, recharge the recurring bill payments. We have some SEO plugins. We even an inventory planner as well. Yeah, so there's a lot actually that we use.
Mm-hmm. Now we talk about the pop-up on the site. What is the pop-up? Is it to collect the email address? What's the intention of the pop-up?
The pop-up intention was to get subscribers to our email list, to give them offers, launches, updates, and really just collect the info as well as giving them like coupon as well.
Mm-hmm. What is the incentive, or what has worked for you guys to get someone to subscribe to the email list?
I believe one of the best thing was actually understanding our customers at that area. One of our pop-ups actually asked like what type of hair you have, and we try to recommend when they get their first email, recommend what type of product that would fit best for the hair.
Oh, interesting. So you're not like a lot of sites have a pop-up and they'll say, put your email in, you get 10% off, but you guys are asking them a question first.
Yes.
Is like what kind of type of hair they have, and then you use that to segment the emails so that the product recommendations are more specific to them.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest thing is like what product works for your hair, right? And even in our customer service, we get that question asked a lot, like what is the best hair product for me? And it's not always necessarily going to be a BluMaan product, and we allow our customer service to even promote other products, or even a competitor's products, as long as it works with our customers.
That's interesting. That's probably like the most valuable field that you have in your database is like the type of hair that they have. Yes. Because it allows you to give them a solution to a problem so directly. Now, when you are, what tool do you use for emailing? What's the software that you guys use to power all of this?
Email software, I think we use Retention Science. Have you heard of that?
No, I have not heard.
It's an AI-based email marketing software.
Very cool. It sounds like very useful for personalization. That makes sense. Awesome. So appreciate you coming on, Colin. So I'll leave you with this last question, which is, what needs to happen this year in 2020 for you to consider the year a success?
For 2020, I believe that one of the biggest goals for BluMaan this year is to reach more customers, help more people, like change their hairstyle, change their hair game, and really build that confidence out of these people.
Awesome. So BluMaan is at BluMaan.com. Thank you again so much for your time, Colin. I appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your experience.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Shopify Masters, the e-commerce podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs powered by Shopify.